Kyle, very good to see you. An important topic today, how to protect your retirement savings if or when markets plunge. If you are within 5 years of retiring, either before or after, you are at your most vulnerable financially. So we have 5 tips to weather that volatility. Number 1, build a cash cushion. And this helps protect against sequence risk. Can you explain?
Sure. Hi, Erin. We're where we're at. We're about halfway through the year 2025, and April was a really rocky month in markets. I mean, markets took a huge dive really, really quickly, and emotions were running really hot. And when we talk about sequence risk, that is sequence of returns risk, meaning that there is a chance that, hey, I'm going to retire soon, and all of a sudden markets take a huge dive, and that changes my whole outcome or my whole perspective. And I may be already retired and counting on that money for my income. Well, what happens if markets take a steep dive and I now need to take money out for an AC unit or a trip or something like that? Having a cash cushion or a set of money that is not subject to market risk directly can help you take some of the emotion out of that decision overall.
Having an income plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, consider changing the balance of equities and fixed investments in your portfolio. This is such a delicate balance, though, Kyle, between growth and income, because you need money invested in equities to combat inflation.
The big thing here is your risk tolerance. I mean, we talk about it a lot. You've probably heard the phrase thrown around quite a bit. But from our perspective, when we look at this and we're doing the planning for the clients, we always look at it from 2 angles. One, how much risk can your plan support? How much can we really build in there that your plan is going to be okay with from an income standpoint? And 2 is going to be, what are you comfortable with assuming emotionally? And what can you do there? And so that's a big part of understanding any side of that. And when we talk about the mix and changing that up, what we're talking about is regularly rebalancing a portfolio to make sure that it lines up with the risk tolerance that I just described.
And you may want to also adjust your spending. Is this another way of saying adjust your withdrawal rate?
Yeah, the 4% rule, Erin, we've talked about that one before.
Many times,
I think it would be great if it just worked for everybody. It's a rule of thumb. It's not that simple. We've seen, how many retirements now where the needs are very fluid, especially early on in a retirement. You're going to want to be the most active generally is what we see. And so it's not necessarily, all right, I'm about to retire, let's cut all the spending down to a minimum. I'm just going to sit around the house. That's rarely the way that it goes. Quite honestly, it's the opposite. So you want to make sure that you're factoring in that flexibility into your plan to where, I can have some fun here early on, and then we can make adjustments later on. But you have to do the plan to see where you need to adjust to in the first place. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, a moving target. And as painful as it might be, you might need to work a little bit longer, which can, of course, help with income, but also delaying when you claim Social Security.
The big phrase we like to throw around here is work optional lifestyle. Wouldn't it be great if we all had that? You get to decide if and when you want to work. That's a great thing to build into plans for clients. And, we've had clients say, I love my job. I love what I do. I want to work out some sort of part-time setup. You can absolutely do that. But if you don't ever do a plan and sit down with a professional and say, how can I retire? What is my budget going to look like comfortably? How much can I pull from my portfolio? You won't really have a clear, definitive answer to that question. How long do I really need to work? And is a work optional lifestyle somewhere in the cards for me?
And then part of that, which we're leading to, speaking with a fiduciary advisor can help ensure that you retire when you want, that you don't have to go back to work unless you want to, like you mentioned. And an advisor can design a plan tailored to your goals and designed to protect against all of these risks.
I think that's huge. It's a big decision already emotionally to retire. Am I going to do it? Is now the right time? And if you work with an advisor that's really good, in my opinion, you're working with an advisor that's going to look at your situation in particular. They're going to look at all the tools at their disposal. Is an annuity in the cards for that guaranteed income? And then we invest the rest to keep up with inflation, or a whole life policy. It depends all about what you need, Erin. And I think that that's the big thing that people need to address in their planning.
Well, clearly, Kyle, you live in this world. You are well aware of these risks and how to build a portfolio and a plan around this volatility. So if somebody wants to come to you to create their own unique plan, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach us is through our website. That's firstcoastfinancialgroup.com.
Great. Kyle, thanks for your time today.
All right. Thank you, Erin.